Hey YouTube, this is the Global Fear Enterprises Invocation costume unboxing part 2. This is the review portion of it. So, stuff I'd like to talk about is, you know, after unboxing it, I, um, I was very excited when it finally came. It took them 6 months for it to get here when I was told to. That was something that hurt a little bit. I'm glad that I did not pay full price for it, though. I got it during their Black Friday sale. It was uh, a little over $600. Um, but I'm glad and not glad I bought it. So before I get into like the actual showing off stuff, I just want to say that there are a lot of good things and a lot of bad things about this costume. And actually, the bad things outweigh the good. You know, yes, it's a nice costume, but for its full price, which is just over $1,000, it is not worth it. Go if you're gonna buy a big costume. Okay, I would say buy silicone or at least like make sure that that you can keep tabs on them or something for whoever you're buying from. If it's Global Fear, just make sure that you keep tabs on them because I feel like they don't have good time management skills. Um, for their customer service, it was not very good. Took many emails for me to get one response from them, and I was very stressed out most of the time after I ordered it because when I was told 6 to 8 weeks, and when it was coming up on that 8th week, I messaged them saying, "Hey, I know my costume should be ready about now. How much is shipping gonna cost? When is it gonna get here?" And then I got that message that just like hurt my heart because it said, "Oh, we haven't even started. We're not gonna start till Transworld," and that was just very frustrating because I had already rented a bunch of camera equipment. This was back in January when I originally wanted to start pre-production for my series so that we'd have 2 months to edit and film it, would not be stressed out at all about it, and get everything done. And that didn't happen. I eventually was able to settle with them on an April 2nd delivery date, which um, kind of got it. I mean, it came on April 4th. Uh, and I was going to bring it to C2E2, which I did. But it was very last minute with its time arrival. And yeah, it was just a very frustrating thing. Michael Faust I had been talking with him when I first ordered it, but then I guess he got upset that or something that I was messaging him too much about costuming or other stuff, and he decided to block me on Facebook because I guess he didn't want to be the middleman, and I can kind of understand that, but also it's I'm one of the customers and I'm trying to just not freak out because it's not like I just spent a shit ton of money on the costume. And some other places that I have to go by, or there's some other effects people that I've talked to. Most of them response within 24 hours, and they won't leave you on red. That happened a lot with Global Fear, and that's just something that really needs to get fixed with them. Um, it's I will say, so I'll start off by showing off the gloves. Things I like about the gloves is, as you can see, they did detail it pretty well, but the things that really upset me is I don't know how well the camera will pick up this, because sorry again, I have a shitty camera. You can clearly see the seaming, and it goes on the nail. They didn't clean up their seams very well, or if they did, they didn't clean it all up. And it's not just that, it's on every single finger. and it's a press foam, or it's a press form cast too. So it's a two-part mold, and on the inside, which you can't fully see, it's just a working glove that they probably filled with latex in a mold. And another thing that frustrates me is the latex got over soaked, so it is very hard to stretch. I mean, that's good because it's tight grip, but it's hard for me to get my hand in, and I have pretty like normal size hands. Like it was hard for any of my actors, even my actors with small, like pretty small hands. Like it takes a lot of force and effort, and baby powder helps. Baby powder is amazing, but yeah, with the movements of the fingers, that bothers me a little bit because yeah, I like that it's extended finger, but like there's just so much more that could be done for this, and it almost feels like a glove you would buy at like one of the year-round Halloween stores. There's also, my camera's not going to pick this up too well, but if you can see all the shiny gleam, that's leakage of whatever glue or sealant they're using. So they decide, and that's all over this nail, which is disappointing. Um, but yeah, show you the other glove. Other glove is the same thing with the seaming work and all of that. But one of the things I'm going to show you, this is like my main talking point and explain like my entire grief with the costume, because this one thing that came with it, and I guess after re-looking at the photo versus what I got, there's supposed to be 3 of these, so I'm like, where are these things? But it's the doll. Because, I mean, if you look at it, it looks so nice. Like, it looks well detailed, well worked. So, like, definitely put a lot of time and effort into it until you look at it from the back. What the fuck, guys? It looks like a fucking pancake. This was one of my, like, big things I was really upset about. Because it looks so beautiful until you turn it over, and they couldn't spend the like slightly extra time just spraying some extra color that's left in the catch of their airbrush um, to cover the backside. Um, I mean, it's something that I think really needs to be fixed, and the only reason I didn't paint it for C2E2 is because I hadn't done the review or this video review yet, but after this, I'm gonna paint it. It's what we had to do is we ended up taking the pins in here and sinking them through into the chest plate, just so that they would, just so that it wouldn't flip over and look terrible. And you know, like I'm just really hurt because that basically explains the whole costume. Like you're looking at it from afar, looks nice. You look at the back or you look closely at it, there are a lot of things wrong with it, and you know, I'm very hurt. Because you know, I looked up to the like heads of these, Michael Faust, Matt Valentine, like those guys, like their work when they do well is exceptional. Like their stuff, like their motto, like about their visual effects and all that, is just awesome. But like this does not showcase their work properly. Um, it just makes it look like they don't care about their product, or whoever they're having build these, like I don't know if they're having someone else build it for them, but that attention to like the bad things like needs to be brought up. um it's all about attention to detail. um I've always been told from when I was studying for makeup or doing costume design, my teacher always told me, your stuff is only as good as your worst piece. So if you or your stuff um, is only as good as your worst stitch. I'm sorry, but it's just like I don't know because I saw some of the stuff that they had at their Trans World event this year, and like the three new things, like their Overkill, their Pennywise type character, and their Stranger Things monster character looks so well done. But like that's because I guess they put too much time into those, not enough time into other things. And like haunted houses have to buy these, and I know that's very disappointing for a haunt to get something and to see like, oh, it looks so good here, but in reality this really hurts us because then you have to do a bunch of, or they have to spend a lot more time and effort fixing that up and making it look presentable so that their haunt's reputation stays well. And I haven't seen any reviews of the Faust costume. I had to dig really hard, and I found a few on Facebook, and a lot of people were saying they didn't like the design of it. They thought that like it felt kind of amateur, and this like Michael Faust is on Face Off, and it still feels like he's doing that Face Off work right now, because he didn't win. And Faust, if you're watching this is not me angry at you. This is just angry at what I got. I'm upset with like the company itself, not specifically you. Because I know now like you aren't as much of a part of it, but yeah. So the next thing I'm going to cover is the mask. Now, I'm not going to put this mask on just because it's a pain in the ass to get on and off. That's just because it's latex. I mean, it's pretty nice for the most part. It got has a little chipping. You'd have to look very hard to see the seam. Like, the camera's not going to pick up the seams that are on here. But there's a thin line that goes from the jaw up on the head over here. But that doesn't matter. We'll fix that later. They did not define the carving very well, which in the photo was highly designed. It said Oracle. There's a gloss like glue coating on it, but it is not over the whole thing. Like it's patchy over here, and like in the photo, this is a actual like cross here. Now it's just a cross that's been burned into it. I'll have to compose pictures between the original photo and the costume itself. This is just a thing that was hanging off of it. In photo, it had beads on it that said invocation or invo on it. Like, I don't know, there's just a lot of things. There's a little mouth plate right here. It's for where you could put the straw. It's very hot in here, so I recommend that if you do end up purchasing one of their costumes, put a micro fan in it, because I did not do that for Comic-Con, and I was burning up in there. It was very hot and very unpleasant. So that's just my recommendation. Alright, next thing I'm going to cover is the waist. Or the waistband. So, for this is the kilt skirt thing. I'm going to stand up to show you. Now, I like this thing pretty much a lot, but it's only an apron. Like, it will not cover the back side unless your actor or whoever you're having it wear it is very, very skinny. And even then, it still shows, like, it'll still show the ass crack. So I had really hoped that the whole thing would be stitched in, filled up. I know I only have one or two skinny actors, but they're still not going to show, or they're still going to show some ass in that, and that's not good for me. So what I did for the Comic-Con is I took some of the needles that were out of the doll, and then I had to had 2 days to make a cape. It looks god awful. I am ashamed of it, but it's what I had to do in such a quick time. I just took a sword, or like a blade, and a cheese grater to it, and then took pins and stuck it into the collarbone of the chest piece of the costume, and just had it held there the entire time. And it lasted. So the other thing, I have no problem with this. I kind of like it. It's just like a necklace with some tarot cards. So just skipping over it. The back feels kind of cheap for how like nice the front looks. But fuck that. So the next thing is, and last thing is the chest plate. Here's the chest. I went over a lot of this, I know, with the review or the unboxing. Chest plate in the photo or in the video actually looks kind of defined. In like reality, it's very blank. So at least that's good. Anger about this is so these I feel like should be up more because they're kind of just sinking down. They look like mushrooms or something, but I guess that they're supposed to be the candles. Thing that really frustrates me though is, let me get this up here, they don't cover the armpits. I know that'll be easier for like sweat or something, but they don't attempt to cover the armpits. So like that's hurtful. That just like if my character lifts up the arm, you'll see right through it. Another thing is they don't hide the ends of the glove or the wrists. Like in the photo, they had these cuffs that that Global Fear did not send me. So I'm wondering where the cuffs are. Like, did they forget about them or something? Chest piece right is very high up on the neck, and will choke your actor if you have more of a actor who does not have as long of a neck or who's not too tall. And also it will, no matter what size your actor is, unless they have like a really long neck, it will choke them while they're sitting down, unless they're leaning all the way back. So that is another note for anyone who like wants to know in general about this. It gets very hot in here too, and that's like I understand that because that's latex. There's nothing you can really do about that besides also putting a microfan in this. But it's really, I just have a few like frustrations about just the general detail stuff. And that's really. But I have some other talking points, so I'm gonna go over. So I think I pretty much covered most of my stuff, but Faust or Valentine or anyone at Global Fear, if you're watching this, you can contact me, and if you don't want this video about your company to be up, I promise you, I will take it down. But what you need to do for me is just prove that your work is better than this. Because I'm hurt. Also, for this last thing that really, really upset me is on the back side, the zipper part is completely exposed. Completely. And, yeah. That's just not good. But yeah, again, message me, and you just have to prove to me that your work is better than this. So if you were to send me something where the seams were fixed, or even if you were to just send me more of the dolls, or make it seem like the costume actually looks like what was seen in the photo. And I know that you said, like, colors may change and stuff. But that does not mean that costume parts should be missing. And you saw in my unboxing that everything that you sent me was there. So you can't call out and say, oh, you didn't cover parts. That's everything that was in there. You saw me open the box. Everyone watching that YouTube video saw me opening the box. So, like you, yeah. And I've been going and ranting for a little over 20 minutes now. I'll also try to embed some photos of the costume as well, or post those with the other costume video or the unboxing. I won't put the rest of this stuff on right now, um, just because it does take two people to get on, um, and you definitely are gonna want baby powder of some type or like a talc, just something to help smooth in. But yeah, there's just a lot of things that need to be done to better their image. And I hope that other haunted houses who see this, I'm not in a haunted house right now, or I don't own one, but other haunted houses, I recommend that you uh, post videos of your costume if you bought from Global Fear and if you are not satisfied. Because maybe if they pay attention, there's a lot of videos getting posted, then maybe something will change. Because I will say, I know this is comparing silicone to latex, but a company like Immortal Mask, they are very good. Their customer service, which if I was able to get a refund for this costume, I might have bought a mask from them, honestly. But at the time, it was mask versus full costume. But like their customer service, the longest I've waited, usually they got back to me within 30 minutes to an hour. Um, Only time I've waited more than 24 hours was on a holiday. Um, their masks, like they take good care to make sure that their masks are very good. They clean up their seams. Um, and I know again that's comparing latex to silicones. Latex is going to be harder to work with than silicone is very tough to work with, but um, and also it holds a different shape, requires different materials and stuff. But still, for what, like, had I paid full price for this, like I would have lost it because of just all the things that I find wrong with this costume. And I'm using this for my series I'm working on, which we're still trying to edit everything. It's a pain in the ass, even if it's just like 5 minutes of footage, because the editing software we're using is shit. Um, and hopefully later we'll get people who are better at either editing or a better working software. So when we finally put out, hopefully at the end of the month, it will probably look like just a student film. But over time, our stuff should get better. If we're thinking of opening a Patreon, and if that does well, then we'll be able to get better equipment and all that. But yeah, and also I want to say thank you for 300 subscribers. Like that big jump over like a night after I said I had received a Faust costume and was doing an unboxing about it, or had received a Global Fear costume and was doing an unboxing. Like thank you to anyone who subbed. Like, um, and again, I'm trying to be unbiased because I like their work, but it's the fact that like I thought it would be this way, and it turned out so much more, like, so much different. It's kind of like ordering something from China that looks awesome in the photo, but when you get it, it doesn't fit you, or it's tiny, or it's just, like, false. And that's just something that, like, I'm still actually glad that I bought it, so that people know what they're getting, so that everyone understands what these things truly do look like. Because there are no, again, it was very hard for me to find a review anywhere. And a lot of them, the reviews were complaints. There were still some positives, but it was more complaints than anything. And there aren't photos of it really, besides Trans World interviews. So, like, I don't know. They had been keeping their stuff in the dark for a while, and I think now that it's being brought to light, maybe they will change their stuff. All right, bye.